Launches down the middle. Hill open, caught. And they get it. Kansas City, the big play.
Starting to get warmer on the field, and the players are starting to feel it.
Starting to get warmer up here.
It sure is.
Vinatieri. Kick goes to Desmond Howard at the 1. Desmond Howard is off. You better turn it on or he's gone. Desmond Howard all the way into the Patriot end zone. As soon as they get back in, Green Bay takes it away. 99 yards.
Lynch in the backfield. Russell looks, throws inside. Oh my God! It's picked off at the goal line. It's picked off by God Butler. Intended for Lockett at the goal line. Oh my word! With 20 seconds left.
Washington outside left. Roethlisberger has time. Throws to the back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Holmes.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
This would be from 48 yards out.
And this has been a year about Vinatieri and making some great kicks against the Raiders. 2 of the greatest kicks that I've ever seen in my life.
Here comes one of greater importance if he makes it. And it's right down the pipe.
Then he pivots, fakes, chucks the big bomb halfway down the field to our hopefully still wide open tailback. I call it the annexation of Puerto Rico.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the APR podcast, the annexation of Puerto Rico. Thank you for tapping in with us. I'm your host, Jordan, Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. Lats here, as always, with my man, Raider Eddie. What's going on tonight, bro?
Not much, man. Just had to listen to the kick that should have never been with Adam Vinatieri. Everyone knows it's a fumble.
Still, well, I mean, it was a Super Bowl, but yeah, I mean,
He should never been there.
you know.
That's what she said.
Should have never been there, dude.
That's what she said.
Nah, still a piece of history, dude. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for joining us.
You're glad to see us.
But we back. We had a little break last week. Eddie was on vacation. Went to go see John Mayer. Man, how was John Mayer live, dude?
It's the best. If you have a chance to see him, like whether you enjoy his music or not, it's an experience for sure. Like I strongly suggest everybody getting a chance to see that man play live. It's amazing. 100%. Definitely worth every second of the trip.
It is. As someone that has seen him play live, it is absolutely amazing. And yeah, I was going to say something else, but we're live, so I don't want to really say that because, who knows who's tuning in. So we're going to keep that to ourselves.
Right? Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Let's go, y'all.
But nah, we back, dude. And obviously we had some news break last week, and we weren't able to go on. Ben and I had touched on it on Taproom, but obviously this is like the football show. And we're in the middle of free agency. We're heading towards the NFL draft, Eddie. And this has been a wild offseason, bro. Like the wildest offseason I remember, dude. Like there hasn't been a crazier offseason. And Tyreek Hill gets traded to the Dolphins. Because I haven't talked to you about it really at all, like even off air.
Yeah.
Like what's your thoughts, especially as a Raiders fan? Like what's your thoughts on Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins and how it's going to play out in the AFC West? I know before we hopped on, we said we were going to start with something else, but I figured this is like the best way to start because this is like news from previous. So we'll start with this. And
yeah.
We'll head into other news, but what's your thoughts on Tyreek Hill getting traded to the Dolphins and what that means for the AFC West, first of all?
So the funny thing is that I think this actually hurts Tyreek Hill more than it hurts like the Chiefs, right? Because at the end of the day, Tyreek Hill needs Patrick Mahomes more than Patrick Mahomes needs Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, right?
No, that's
Because like,
facts.
yeah, their offense was Tyreek, you run as far as you can down the field, and I'm going to throw it as far as I can down the field. But with Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins, he doesn't have a quarterback that can do that. And we'll get to the Dolphins in a second. But your question was about how it affects the AFC West. I honestly think that this could be a better situation, as weird as that sounds, when you lose a player like Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs, because now they can't play as much schoolyard football as they've played like the last 2 years, which I think has been the reason that they haven't been able to get that success that we all thought they would be, multiple championships, all that, because they get too comfortable with the fact that Mahomes can run around and someone's just going to get open. They're going to have to run plays. And we talked about it all last year during the season. I think this also does, at the same time, though, like hurt the Chiefs in the sense that, like, before it was who do you double, right? It was who do you double, Tyreek and you get burned by Kelsey, or are you going to double Kelsey and just get annihilated by Hill? And now you don't have to really have that option. Like, yeah, they signed Juju, right? But we all know that he's a number 2. Like, he can't be a number 1. We saw that in Pittsburgh. But I mean, he's going to take some pressure off of Kelsey, and maybe Kelsey has a better year. But I definitely think this brings the Chiefs back a little bit. But this also comes into play. Like, when you sign a quarterback to a $500 million contract, dude, you're going to lose other players. You know what I mean? You can't pay the quarterback as much money as they're paying and pay a wide receiver, top wide receiver money. Like, when Devontae Adams' deal came out, Tyreek Hill pretty much said, I want that money plus some, right? Him thinking he's the best receiver in the league. And you can't do that. You can't have all your cap strapped into 2 players and then expect to pay Travis Kelsey when his contract comes up. Expect to pay, any other future players that I mean, they let go of Tyrann Mathieu too, who is like the heart and soul of their defense, and brought in, I forget, what was his name, from Justin Reed, right? From the Texans.
Yeah, but
That's
I mean,
who they
the
brought in.
thing with Tyrann Mathieu is, like, he's pushing over 30. He's not going to be the same player, and he wasn't the same player last year as he has been. So, and he's still unsigned, dude, which tells you something. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Well, yeah, that's interesting too. I think we should bring that up too. Like, there's players that you would think would have been signed by now. Like, we're going to talk about Bobby Wagner here in a little bit, who just signed. But then you have like Stephon Gilmore, who hasn't signed yet, who's been like linked in like every team in the league so far.
well,
Like,
I think the biggest thing you have to know is, like, there's a market, and right, and the market is going to dictate your value. And I think Stephon Gilmore, for one, he was said to be looking at $14 to $16 million a year, and I don't think he's that dude anymore. You know what I
right.
mean?
I would agree.
think that's way out of the line. And supposedly the Raiders offered him $14 million a year, and he still hasn't signed. So that makes me wonder: did they really offer that,
Right.
or were they like, yo, they offered it and then they pulled it because they were like, yo, we're negotiating it ourselves? Because he was said to have met with the Cardinals, he was meeting with the Niners and a couple other teams as well, and he still hasn't signed.
Right. Nor did he get offers. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't get a contract offer when you leave the building, that's always a bad sign, right? That means the team probably is moving on from you. So
That's what she said.
you know what I mean? So, but on the trade for Tyreek Hill going to Miami, right? I mentioned that I think Miami got absolutely fleeced in this deal. Like, and here's the thing that after initially thinking that, I started thinking about a little more, and this makes more sense to me. I think they're ready to move on from Tua already. I think they're over it. And the reason I say that is because they are providing him with all the weapons in the world, it seems like. They signed Mostert, they signed Tyreek Hill, you know what I'm saying? They're built up.
But why would you sign all these pieces and use draft capital to bring in these guys if you're ready to move on from? Because what do you do next? Like,
then you wait for a quarterback to come available either next year or, maybe get someone in the draft a little bit later that has a strong arm. Because the thing is if
but I mean, like, they're gonna be better than a team that's gonna be drafting a top quarterback. So
potentially, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like, what if Tua goes out and fails, right? Which, to be honest, like, if you bring in a guy like Tyreek Hill, he ain't running like a 5-yard slant. You know what I mean? He's running down the field. Tua doesn't necessarily have the arm strength to get it down there. That's the thing I worry about with Tyreek Hill, because they already have Jalen Waddle, who's fast as hell too, right? But Waddle can run routes. which is what we learned last year. So I think that still benefits him more. Now Tyreek Hill's going to take the top off of defense, which will benefit the Miami offense, but will he get upset that he's not getting the ball? Because Tua's not going to be able to throw it 60 yards downfield. Like they describe Tua as an accurate quarterback. That's like saying when your friend sets you up on a blind date, he's like, oh, she's got a good personality, dude. You know what I mean? Like we all know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I find it like I understand that the logic of like, okay, we give Tua everything that he needs to succeed. And now I think more than it's like we're ready to move on from him, I think this is like a make it or break it year for Tua. Like either he succeeds because they've set him up for success, or he fails and then they need to move on.
Right.
But I don't know where they move on from, because with all the additions that they've signed, it would be an objective failure if they don't make the playoffs. I think we would all agree with that.
Agreed.
And then they don't have much, like all their draft capital is basically tied up in that Niners trade for next year, because they don't own their own first pick. They have the Niners pick, and the Niners could be good and your first pick could stink. And then,
right.
And then what are you doing for your future? Because if there's a good quarterback, they're getting tied up, dude. And we've seen that. We've seen it, right? And that's my biggest question about Russell Wilson. Sorry, not Russell Westbrook, but Russell Wilson getting traded to the Denver Broncos. Is that, like, does that show you that Seattle knows something that everybody else doesn't, that they've seen something? Because, I mean, we've seen it the last year and a half. Like, he was average, and he only started to look good once Rashad Penny was rushing for 200 yards a game.
Right. That's easy to look good at that point.
And every team is not giving up a franchise quarterback for nothing if he's worth it. You know what I mean? That's the most valuable piece. And we saw Tom Brady, which we're going to get to in a second, retire and unretire because he was basically forcing a trade, which we know at this point. And then he gets what he wants. We've seen Deshaun Watson. He has 22 civil cases. Obviously, Houston, like, they can't move forward with him. They trade him, and then the Browns give him $230 million
guaranteed, dude.
You know what I mean? So it's like, at this point, like, for the Dolphins, I think that this was what they had to do, bro. Like, you have to surround Tua with talent to make him succeed, and if he doesn't, you're fucked.
Right. Well, or they take that Niners first round pick, trade it back to San Francisco, and get Garoppolo.
Nah,
they're already fucking mini San Francisco, dude, bringing in every Niners player known to man.
You
know what I'm saying?
Garoppolo, he's not worth the first round pick.
Well, hell, if that's all you need,
bro.
I mean, that's for like next year too. And like, what's to say too? Like, I can see if Tua goes down, right, middle of the year, maybe week 4, week 5, Baker Mayfield comes flying into fucking Miami and saves the day. You know what I mean? Like, trade that first round pick for Baker, because they are, like you said, they're win now. So if Tua even struggles, let's say 6 weeks in, they're 2-4. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you got to kick the tires right there.
That's an interesting tidbit on Baker, because, I mean, honestly, I think, not to get off topic, but I think Cleveland's going to hang on to Baker because Deshaun Watson could get suspended for the year, or at least half the year. So I think Baker, they're going to hang on to him whether Baker shows up for camp or not. I don't really think he has a choice because his trade value is like in the fucking gutter right now,
dude. Even the Colts didn't want him, dude. They went and got Matt Ryan.
But I mean, I think Matt Ryan's better.
Well, yeah, I agree.
I'd rather have Matt Ryan anyways, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Or what if the Dolphins go out and let's say a player like Matt Corral falls to them in the second or third round, which they don't have picks in, but they could trade up. They could trade up for picks, right? And what if they go and get a guy like Matt Corral and have him play behind Tua, and maybe that's their future quarterback? I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibilities. I agree that this is a make or break year for Tua. I disagree with the sentiment that they're getting all these pieces to show us that Tua, they're not going to move on with Tua, because for all we know, Tua could succeed. You know what I mean?
He could. And that's like a win-win for them, right? Like, if he plays well, great. Fucking, we don't need to move on. We can work on building the rest of the roster.
And
But if he doesn't,
I also have to assume that when they hired Mike McDaniel, part of their agreement with hiring him was like, hey, man, you need to make this work with Tua.
right?
I mean, that's probably why they went and traded for Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill is very similar to Deebo Samuel. Obviously not as big, but you can like line Tyreek Hill up as a running back. You can do a lot of different things with him. He's like a switchblade. So he's like, hey, I need Tyreek Hill in my offense to kind of make up for it. I mean, to be honest, dude, I'm going to be 100% objective right now. I think this whole situation with the Dolphins is going to be a fucking disaster. I think the Dolphins are going to suck next year. I don't think Mike McDaniel is ready to be a head coach. Like, it would not shock me if the Dolphins win 5 games. And, like, it's just a fucking, like, all we hear about is reports coming from the locker room about how this team fucking sucks and shit. Like,
Right.
It would not shock me, dude, at all.
Yeah. And like with the Tyreek Hill being used like Debo, like Tyreek Hill can't get hit that much, dude. You know what I mean?
Not
Like,
at all.
he's
But he's
tiny,
also like
dude.
the least hit wide receiver. Honestly, the most interesting thing that I found out through all of this, like through researching and stuff, is that Tyreek Hill isn't even top 20 in wide receivers in yards per attempt, which is crazy to me, dude.
Really?
You would think that he takes the top off so much. Bro, most of his routes are like screens and hitches.
Right. So, basic routes that receivers run.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
Not even top 20 in average yards per
That's what I
attempt.
mean, dude. That's why I think that's why I go back to my original point. Tyreek Hill needed Patrick Mahomes more than the opposite. You know what I'm saying? And like the fact that the Chiefs got 5 picks, dude, like 5 picks for him.
Yep.
Like, that's insane, dude. Like, the Raiders got Devontae Adams for a first and a second rounder. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
There's also no way the Chiefs could have moved forward paying Mahomes what they're paying him and Tyreek
Exactly.
Hill, dude. Like, it's just,
And Kelsey when he comes up.
well, I mean, Kelsey's 32. I don't know what his next contract is going to look like. Even if I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs let him walk, dude. You know what I mean?
Could be.
But the fact that, like, you just can't do that, dude. You can't have your wide receiver 1 and your QB taking up fucking 60% of your cap, dude. You just can't build a successful team around that.
Right.
And I think they learned that last year, dude, because their defense was kind of like up and down all year. And now they can kind of like solidify that a little bit more. And they have draft picks now, and you can
they have time.
You can get draft picks and bring guys in, and the Chiefs draft well, dude. They drafted Tyreek Hill in the 5th round. You know what I mean?
Right. No, the Chiefs definitely do draft well. That's the one thing that Andy Reid's always been really successful at. You know what I mean? Like, even when he was in Philly, he always drafted really well. So I think giving him that many draft picks is dangerous for the Chiefs. Like, and plus they'll get good players on cheap deals. That's what they need.
Yep.
So like for the Chiefs long term, I don't think it's necessarily like you think like, oh, Tyreek Hill's gone, whatever. Like, maybe this year they take a step back, right? Because they got to let some of these younger guys develop. But like next year, like the year after that, like they have more rapport with Mahomes. Like, they're just going to be just as deadly. It doesn't like change them. They still have Patrick Mahomes at the end of the day.
Mahomes going to win MVP this year, guaranteed.
I mean, he's going to have to for them to like, be the Chiefs that we know.
And Marquez Valdez Scantling. He's gonna make a Pro Bowl this year, guaranteed. I'm throwing this out. I'm throwing this out there, dude. And y'all can save this. You can meme it. You could put it on Twitter. You could bump it later. I'm telling y'all. And Marquez Valdez Scantling is gonna make a Pro Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes is gonna be MVP. And Vegas agrees with me that the Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC West.
Well, of course they're gonna put that still. I mean, that doesn't change. You know what I mean? They still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have Andy Reid.
As long as 15 is playing, Eddie, they're the best team. So how does this shake out for the rest of the AFC West? Because Tyreek Hill leaves, right? Robinson also leaves. He's on the Raiders now. And everyone's like freaking out. All the Chiefs aren't going to be as good. I highly disagree. I still think as long as 15 is there, they're still the best team.
Yeah, I think that it brings the Chiefs back. I don't think it puts them below anybody, right? Like, I still think that they're still the cream of the crop. Like, you can't say they're going to be any worse until you see that they're worse, right? But I just think it makes the division even tighter. like at this point, like any of the four teams could win the division. Again, I don't really see the Broncos being that team because, as we've talked about with Russell Wilson, like we have no idea, right, what that's going to be. But I think between the Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs, like it's a beyond a reasonable doubt that any one of those teams can win the division at this point. Before with Tyreek Hill, I'd say the Chiefs were more than likely. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you could see the Chargers and the Raiders maybe, or but I think the Chiefs were always going to be there. I still think the Chiefs win the division at the end of the day, but I do think it's a lot closer now than it was prior. But again, this is like 1 year, dude. Like in 2 years, they're gonna find someone who's fast and that can go down the field, like you said at MVS.
But I think MVS can be that. I mean, he's a 4.3 40 guy. Like he's a fast dude. And
He's got to is if he can learn the what's it called, the playground rules, dude. Because like Tyreek Hill caught a lot of balls downfield when the play broke
Rodgers,
down.
Dude.
He was with Rodgers, you're right. But I mean, in all fairness to MVS, you can't really grade him because like Rodgers only threw to Adams, like every fucking play. You know what I mean? Like he didn't want to throw to anybody else. So let's see what he can do with a different quarterback. Like
so right now, Eddie, DraftKings has the Chiefs as the favorites to win the AFC West at plus 160, the Chargers at plus 250, Broncos at plus 250, and the Raiders at plus 600.
I mean, the best value is the Raiders, in my opinion, and not just because I'm a Raiders fan, but because like you're giving me plus 600 on an offense that could be a top 5 offense in the league, if not better.
It could be a fucking dud.
I definitely don't think it's going to be a dud, dude. You have one of the best offensive minds in football running the show in McDaniel, and then you have top 3 tight end in the league.
What has McDaniel's done without Tom Brady, though?
He made Mac Jones look like a fucking Hall of Famer in his rookie year, dude.
He made Mac Jones look like a rookie quarterback that
with no help,
dog.
With no help, dude. You throw into Kendrick Bourne and fucking what's his name?
Keel Henry, bro. He's nice.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he had nothing, dude. He made Mac Jones look good.
I think like the biggest thing to me, the biggest surprise to me, like we talked about it before the Davante Adams trade hit, and you agreed with me, was that we thought the Raiders were going to strip it down and rebuild with a new regime coming in, and they've done the complete opposite. Right. So they're really going in on Derek Carr. Like they think he's the fucking dude. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's great. I think he's like a top 15 quarterback. He's definitely not a top 10 quarterback. He's definitely the 4th best quarterback in this division. That's not debatable.
Well, I think that this is the first time that Derek Carr has had the amount of weapons that he has, like in quite a long time. Last time was when he had Cooper and Crabtree on the outside, right? That was 6 years ago or so. But you know what I mean? You and I disagree on Derek Carr, obviously.
You agreed with me 3 weeks ago, dude. You agreed.
3 weeks ago when all those moves were being made. If we were going to rebuild because they hadn't done anything, then yeah, you trade Derek Carr. But now that you get Davante Adams, like Derek Carr is in a perfect situation with his contract. He's in a perfect situation. He got the player that he's wanted to get since he came into the league, the first time.
Dude. They went to Fresno State together.
So now when he does sign his extension, he's going to take a cut. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be he's not going to take a $40-45 million deal, dude. You know what I mean? It'll probably be in like the range of 35, 37, and you can build a team around that.
35, 37 is basically the same as 40, 45. And
it's $5 million difference, dude. It's a lot.
Depending on cap hit, it doesn't even
right. But we don't know how much he's going to put that into like signing bonus. They work that fucking cap room magic and shit. And you can even do it like all the other teams do, and they have it back heavy.
I also guarantee the Raiders defense will not be as good this year. Guarantee.
Oh, I don't think that's
guarantee, bro. Guarantee.
I don't think that's accurate. Dude, how can they be any worse though? Because they fucking set the record for the most fucking fourth downs given up.
He's washed. He's washed as fuck, dude. I'm a Cardinals fan, bro. I watched this guy for 17 games. I'm telling you, he's washed.
I don't know. We'll see.
He's washed. He's washed. He
didn't have any help.
What's their over-under right now? Is there over-under on them right now?
I think someone put 8.5, and if that's the case, I'm hammering the over because that's brutal. Because that's not even close.
8.5? Nah, it's gotta be like 9.5. Give me the under on 9.5. I think they're
No
gonna
way.
be the worst team in the division for sure.
Dude, they're a playoff team last year,
they're-
and they just
yeah,
got better.
they're-
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean they caught lightning in a bottle. They had a lot of luck. They had a lot of luck, dude. A lot
I
of luck
mean,
went their way, dude.
they beat 4 teams in a row to make it to the playoffs.
Dog, give me the under on the Raiders next year.
You can take the under all day. I'm going to still take the over and
I
be
know,
right.
I know
dude.
you are. No, you're not.
Because you say the defense is going to be worse,
It's
though,
gonna-
and
yeah,
that's
it's gonna be worse.
it can't be. It can't be.
How?
Because, dude, they had the worst red zone percentage in NFL history.
Yeah, and
He's not
even
going to be worse than
this
that.
year,
They had
bro.
the worst fucking, like, one of the worst 3rd down and 4th down
They got
stop
no
rates.
first or
in
second
the
round
league.
draft picks. What like they can't really add anyone other than
They've
free
already
agency.
added Rocky Sim for out of the corner. They got Trayvon Mullen coming back, who's been hurt.
Bunch of
Morig's
average
coming back on
dudes,
his second
dog.
year.
Bunch
He
of
was
average
phenomenal last
dudes,
year.
dog. Average dudes, just Jags coming in.
No, not even
Bro,
close.
they're gonna be
But,
Max. I guarantee Max Crosby is not as good as he was last year,
he's gotten better every year. What do you mean?
and I guarantee he's not gonna be as good as last year.
I doubt that. I doubt
Bro,
that 100%.
lock it in, dude. Lock it in.
I doubt it, dude.
I hope y'all recording this right now. Cause I mean, we're recording this right now.
Yeah, you remember last year when I said the Raiders are going to win 10 games? You guys laughed and laughed and laughed. Said, lock this in, record this, keep it on recording. And then what they win? Exactly 10 games. So, like, again, like, go ahead and lock it in, because at the end of the year when we play it back and I'm right, it's
Hey,
good.
one of us is gonna be right. One of us is gonna be wrong. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure out which one is which, dude. I'm very much looking forward to it. But let's hop into the other news real quick. Bruce Arians announcing his retirement shortly after, like all this Tom Brady, or I shouldn't say shortly, but after all this Tom Brady drama. And we heard from the beginning, it was like Tom Brady retired. Then we heard Tom Brady was trying to force a trade to the Niners. Then Tom Brady unretires. And then we hear he's trying to force a trade to the Dolphins last week. And then Bruce Arians retires, which only means one thing, dude, at this point, is that there truly was some kind of friction between Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. And the Buccaneers basically said, okay, if you unretire and play for us, we'll move Bruce Arians to the front office and you can do your thing. I mean,
Right.
At this point, that's the only truth, right? Or he unretired and then he tried to force a trade to the Dolphins, and then they were like, all right, look, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the only thing that can make sense is maybe like they like each other on like a human being level, but like let's look at their two styles of like preparation, right? Like it feels like Brady is like everything has to be like to the minute, right? Like we're gonna do this, and this. It's gonna be complete preparation all the way around.
Yep.
Like Bruce Arians comes off as like a fuck it. Let's just, what does it feel good like right now, and we'll do that. You know what I mean?
Also, like what Tom Brady loved about Tampa at first was that they weren't as like
right,
buttoned up. They weren't as like corporate. They were more like, let's have some fun, let's have some swagger and shit. And then it was like he had an issue.
we lost. Let's go back to fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you know, when you're in like a long-term relationship, like 5 years, right? And you guys break up, and then what's the first thing you do? You go after someone that's the complete opposite, right? And it's really fun for like 6 months, and you're like, you know what? I actually really liked that relationship I had for the 5 years. I'm gonna go back to someone like that, or even go back to the same person. I feel like that is kind of what happened here, right? Like he enjoyed the free-flowing Tampa lovey style, right? They win a Super Bowl, everything's fantastic, and then he goes and loses in the division game when he's had one of the best years of his career, right? Like statistically.
Yeah.
Has one of the best years, and is like, fuck that. Like, we shouldn't have lost. I shouldn't have lost. I didn't lose that game. You did. I came back and tied it. You gave up a touchdown. And he's like throwing a fit, dude. Like, it looks like a quarterback who's throwing a fit, in my opinion, and he's getting his way.
But all these quarterbacks are throwing fits and getting their way. That's the point. Like, the quarterback is the most important piece. I mean, this guy is 45 years old, dude. And franchise is still willing to bend over backwards for him. Just like the
I would have traded him in a
did
second
for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you trade Brady, and what do you have in Tampa? Like, dude, they were gonna suck.
Yeah, but I mean, they were gonna
win the
suck,
Super Bowl, but they're still in a good position, dude, because their division fucking stinks.
NFC stinks. Yeah.
Sean Payton retires. The Panthers, who the fuck knows what the fuck they're doing, dude? They're all over the fucking place. And then the Falcons are obviously rebuilding. They're probably going to draft a quarterback in the first round this year. I mean, this is a division that's easy to win, so it's like you're guaranteed to make the fucking playoffs regardless of what happens, right?
It's like Brady's whole career. His divisions he's in have stunk.
I mean, you said it, bro. Like,
you know what I mean? Like, he just is like, yeah, they stink. I'll play. Fuck it. You know, and like, it makes sense. Like let's look at the NFC, dude. Like, how many teams does he really got to worry about to get to a Super Bowl? Like, realistically, the Rams, the Niners, maybe.
Cardinals, maybe.
You know what I mean? And then like the Packers, maybe. We don't know. I mean, the Cowboys have done nothing but got worse all off season.
The Washington football team or the Commanders.
But they have Carson Wentz, so you know that's going to be a fucking shit show.
Who knows, dude? Maybe because I mean the thing about Carson Wentz is like we saw this last year, bro. He had a few games or like he had a stretch of like 5-6 games where he looked great, like MVP Carson Wentz, and then he had that Jacksonville game where it's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
He had a 14 quarterback rating.
Like, what 14. In the fuck are you doing, bro?
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. Like, he is the most Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde football player I've ever seen, dude.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes. 100%.
Like, it's crazy. Like,
you don't know what Carson Wentz you're gonna get from game to game basis, dude.
Nope. You don't. And it's like, so that, I mean, that's got to go into like Brady wanting to come back, right? Like, that's the softest the NFC has been in a long time.
Well, I mean,
right?
I think he wanted to play all along, dude. I just don't think he wanted to play for Bruce Arians.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what I mean? And like Bruce Arians moving to the front office, like, I know he's old, you know what I mean? But like, what is he going to do in the front office?
It's quote unquote front office, dude. It's
right.
Like, he's probably going to be fucking chilling in his fucking backyard, sipping fucking Mai Tais, you know, riding his
playing
fucking
golf,
jet
whatever,
skis around and shit. Like, it's a slow transition to retirement, I would say. Like, I mean, Bruce Arians, the guy I would definitely want input in from, right? He's been around football fucking for goddamn 40 years, 45, 50 years, you know what I mean? So he knows his shit. But
right.
I just don't think it works with Brady. And then obviously Tampa's like, yo, we don't have Brady. Like, what the fuck? We don't have shit. Right.
Right.
So they're like,
and why Todd Bowles? Like, why did they go defensive coordinator for him? Just because he has head coaching experience?
I honestly think it's because Tom Brady is going to run the offense similar to Peyton Manning and Adam Gase in Denver, dude, where like Adam Gase was the quote unquote offensive coordinator, but really Peyton Manning ran that offense, and
of course
we've learned that throughout the years. So I think it's gonna be similar to this dynamic where it's like Byron Leftwich is willing to sit there and listen to Tom Brady, and they can like collaborate on game plans and what they want to do and stuff, and then Todd Bowles can just focus on defense. Like, Todd Bowles is the quote unquote head coach, but really, you know, it's, you know, Tom Brady's gig here.
Right. Yeah, I just thought they'd put Leftwich at head coach just because, like, we got nothing else to do. You know what I mean? He can walk around, check out special teams for a little bit. Because Brady doesn't need him to, like, put the game plan together, you know?
I think it's still nice to have like a coach to sit there and put a game plan together with you. You know, shouldn't be all on the quarterback because he's got a lot more to worry about as well. But no, I agree with you. I thought it was gonna be Byron Leftwich as well, and when they named Todd Bowles, I was like, I guess.
I mean, I guess. You know.
I honestly, I don't think Tampa's gonna do. I think they're gonna win their division, obviously, because their division sucks, but.
One and done.
I don't see them doing much in the playoffs. I think the Rams might go back to back, dog.
Well, the Rams, I think, right now are the favorites for the NFC. You know what I mean? Like, that's a given. You know, they've improved more than they've declined, right?
Yeah.
And that team was still good. So
Yeah.
I definitely think the Rams are still like the favorite in the NFC, but yeah, I mean, any team that can put together a decent year, like, can make it pretty deep. Like the Bucks could easily click to the NFC Championship game and get slaughtered by the Rams. Like, that's a possibility. So why not continue playing? It's just more money he's going to make. He doesn't have to stay home with his family. As we clearly can tell, Brady doesn't want to do that. So,
Nah, he definitely
like, he's
doesn't.
like 3 weeks in, dude. He's like, "Up, I'm out. Fuck this."
Do you blame him?
Maybe not with that family. I don't know. I don't know his kids though.
I feel like I should say something smart.
Nah, man. Hey, Brady gotta do what he gotta do, man. He always said he wanted to play to 45, dude. So here he is at
Good for him.
45, and we'll see what happens, man. I just hope he doesn't get hurt, bro. But I mean, like, quarterbacks aren't really allowed to get touched anymore, so
True.
it's more beneficial for him.
Mhm.
Should be very interesting. But that kind of brings up the next part is Bobby Wagner signing to the LA Rams, which you kind of mentioned. LA Rams might be the favorites here. Like, so what do you think about this Bobby Wagner signing to the Rams?
I mean, like, why it makes sense. Like, if the Rams can do it, do it. You know what I mean? Like, because like that was definitely like in their defense, that was like their weak spot, right? Was the linebacker core, and not so much like they're small, fast linebackers, so they're better in coverage. But if their front four wasn't stopping the run, then they can get gashed pretty easily on the run. Now you get Wagner in there; he can plug up that middle, plug up some run lanes. So for the Rams, I mean, it makes perfect sense. If you can do it, why not bring in the best linebacker available in free agency? And he's older, so like, I forget his deal. I think it was like, what, 4 years or something, 5 years.
5 years. He's 31 years old.
Yeah, I guarantee you that he lasts 2 years in LA, and then they cut him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I don't think it's gonna be a long relationship. I mean, yeah, they didn't have a great middle linebacker, but really, when LA turned the corner last year, because remember they went through that 3-game losing streak, and that was when they traded for Von Miller.
Mhm.
And really, the big reason why was because they didn't have an edge rusher coming off the edge, so teams were able to like really focus in on Aaron Donald, dude. And the great thing about Aaron Donald is that he eats up double teams no matter who else is on the field. So the rest of the team has to take care of the one-on-ones and getting to the quarterback. Well, Bobby Wagner doesn't really rush the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what he does. So does this improve their defense? Yeah. How much? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, they still need to get an edge rusher. They have a couple of third-round picks, which I think could benefit them. In the third round, are you going to get a great edge rusher? Maybe.
Nah, not really.
It's like, it's tough to say, dude. Like, I don't know the odds of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right. But I feel like, too, you can get like an average edge rusher and they can become better than what they are just because of the fact of, like you mentioned, Donald always on the double team.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
I mean, they got Dante Fowler in a trade one year, and like he did really well, and then went and signed a big deal with Atlanta. So I mean, the same thing could happen next year, dude. They can get a guy in a trade halfway through the season that's kind of washed or quote unquote washed, who we think are washed, but it could have a good 6 games with having to deal with Aaron Donald. But at the same time, Aaron Donald's only getting older too. You know what I mean? So it's like, how long is he gonna dominate as much as he's dominating, dude? Like, how long can we expect that? Because Father Time's undefeated, dude. And unlike quarterback, a defensive lineman is getting fucking beat up every play, dude.
Yeah. It's not like quarterbacks don't get touched, right? That's why they can play longer now. That's why you got Rodgers going to 38, 39 years old. You know what I mean? Like Matt Ryan's getting up there in the age. Like, you can, as a quarterback, you can play a lot longer if you keep your body in shape because you don't get hit. You don't get hit in practice. You don't get hit. I think the most you get hit is like when your wife throws something at you or throws a remote at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the most they get hit now. Even when they get hit, it's a penalty. And so like, it's not like, like you can go like 5-10 years ago when, the idea of a defensive player is to rip a quarterback's head off. Now let's put him on the ground very gently.
Facts, dude. Facts. Absolute facts, man. So it's interesting. I don't know how much is going to benefit the Rams. I do think it's beneficial. I do think the most beneficial thing for the Rams is that the NFC kind of got worse, especially
Right.
their division. Because I mean, the Seahawks are basically like who knows how good they're going to be this year. They may be a 3-4 win team this year, which
Yeah.
benefits every team in their division. And then obviously the Niners are going to play Trey Lance, and who knows how Trey Lance is going to play. Like, what if he stinks, dude? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like,
I mean, I think Jimmy might get another go at that,
he
dude.
very well
Like,
could, dude.
he did take him to the NFC Championship last year. I mean,
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody, I forget who I was talking to. Like, it's not a bad thing if Garoppolo plays next year because, like, it's obvious that Trey Lance still can't read a defense. You know what I mean? In his 2 starts that he did have, because a game against the Cardinals, I mean, I think he ran the ball more than he tried to throw it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't pretty. And you could tell that he looked overwhelmed out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except
So
for the Texans start. I think he did decent.
he did decent, but it's the Texans. You know what I mean? The only team to lose to the fucking Texans was the Chargers because they stink. So, you know
And
what
the
I mean? Like,
Panthers.
and
And the
even against the
Panthers.
Texans, though, he kind of, they look like they confused him a little bit. So I'm not opposed to Trey Lance sitting another year and giving Garoppolo the go. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a bad idea. It's obvious he can still win. It's not like favorable to the Niner faithful, right? That want to see Trey Lance play, but I think they'd also want to see them win.
True.
And like, maybe
True.
Jimmy's that better option at the moment because he couldn't trade him, right? They wanted too much, and the league was like, Garoppolo is not fucking good. Like,
Well,
does he have
I think
Debo to fucking?
the shoulder surgery may have something to do
Yeah,
with it, but still, like, you're right, dude. Like, they obviously were trying to. I can't imagine they weren't trying to trade him. I mean, Deshaun Watson got traded with 22 civil cases against him, dude.
right.
So they had to have been trying to trade him.
Yeah, and I've heard too that like Pittsburgh was in until they heard about that shirt surgery. So
Yeah. So I mean, like,
could be.
yeah, I agree with you, dude. I honestly I wouldn't be shocked if Jimmy Garoppolo started for the Niners next year. Would not
Yeah,
shock me, dude.
no, neither would I.
Let's hop into the USFL real quick. Let's preview these 2 teams we got on the docket. So if you've been tapping in with us for this USFL preview, we've been previewing 2 teams every week. And obviously these teams don't have a lot going for them yet because we don't know nothing about these teams until
Right.
they actually play games. So we've previewed Michigan, we've previewed Pittsburgh, we've previewed Birmingham, and we've previewed Houston. So this week we're gonna go Philadelphia, and then we're gonna go New Orleans, and then next week we're gonna preview 2 more teams, and then we're gonna get ready for the season, and we're gonna break down the games once the lines come out for the opening week.
Yes. And the season will get way more interesting. We'll get some more info,
As we
get some more
learn.
intel, some stats. We can get you some actual breakdown here. Like, what's crazy is like I put all my notes for the USFL on my cell phone, and my phone was even like, fuck this, and it just died on me. Like, it's like over it. So
It's over.
we'll do our best, you know what I mean? But like we said, as the season goes on, we'll definitely be giving you more USFL coverage that we promised we'd bring, and hopefully make some more money in this off season.
Once we get into the USFL season, we are definitely once we learn some games and learn some market value, we're gonna get very tapped in. So let's hop into this first team. We got the Philadelphia Stars. Eddie. They are hold on. USFL. I gotta look up their odds real quick. I forgot to look up.
I think it's plus 450 or
600.
600. It's one of the 2.
600. Basically, everybody in the USFL. If you're new to the show, Michigan is the favorite to win, plus 400. New Orleans plus 500. Tampa plus 500. Philadelphia plus 600. So, what's your thoughts on Philly here? Philadelphia Stars.
Again, looking through the roster, man, I don't recognize any of these names. Like, again, that's a lot of, couple guys who've made some practice squads. From the looks of it, I believe what they were saying as like a draft overview after the draft as they worked more interior and then try to fill in on the outside, spending more capital on like offensive line, defensive line, which is a good recipe for success. Now, again, the caliber of players, though, unknown. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's their coach?
For Philly,
Yeah.
their coach is good question. Who the fuck is their head coach? Head coach Bart Andrews.
I mean, I think I've heard less of the coach than I have of the players.
He's a former. He's a former. My God, dude! Like this dude is. His last like notable job was a St. Louis Rams offensive assistant in 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
I mean,
He once coached at Humboldt State.
well, there you go. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously these coaches are going to have some sort of pedigree, right, with the NFL or in college. So, I mean, if you look at those Rams teams, they're always kind of spread out, wide open, throw the ball around the field. So I guess that's what we can expect. Makes sense. You would draft offensive linemen to give you time to do that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it could be a fun team to watch, in my opinion, if that's the style of offense they bring to the USFL.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is fuck, dude.
Right.
I mean, this is the Philadelphia Stars might be like the ultimate wild card here. Like
Yeah.
they could be a team that like just you don't know how they're gonna do, and then they do very well because I mean like Kate Kukas and Brian Scott. I mean they might have like the two worst quarterbacks in the USFL, but who knows? Like maybe that's their guys, dude. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Devin Gray, you know, he's from Reno, Nevada. Played at Cincinnati. He's a good wide receiver. Chris Rowland also played at Tennessee State. He had a little bit of NFL experience, so they have a little bit of NFL experience on this team. I mean, like I said, dude, this could be the sleeper team, Eddie.
Could be, dude. Like, again, I always enjoyed a line first team. So
Yeah, I mean, building through the trenches is never.
it's never a bad thing,
dude.
You know. And I mean, they paid the price probably for their quarterback because of it. But I mean, the other team, if you can give them time, any quarterback can be good.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to New Orleans here. So the New Orleans Breakers, they're actually second favorite to win the title, plus 500. They're coached by Larry Fedora, who is coming off. He was the Baylor offensive coordinator / quarterback coach under Matt Rule when he was there. So he has a little bit of experience. You know, what's your thoughts on New Orleans? I think they have the dopest uniforms, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's one thing. If you have the uniform, then you should be able to perform on the field, hopefully. But I mean, coming from a Baylor like offense, right? I'm assuming their quarterback's gonna have speed.
Kyle
who is
Slaughter, he he doesn't have a ton of experience, dude. Like his college statistics, he was a backup at Southern Miss for 2 years. Then he played at Northern Colorado, and he only started 1 year. And the 1 year he played, he had 62% completion, 2,600 yards, 29 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And then he was like a practice squad quarterback for like the longest time. I mean, he's been a practice squad quarterback for like fucking 6 years, dog.
Jesus. I mean, and kudos to you to only have 1 year starting, throw for under 3,000 yards and be a practice squad quarterback. So he's got to have gadgets of some kind, dude. You know what I mean? Like bring him in for the speedy practices or whatever the case is, whatever his skill set is. Like, you know, if he's throwing for less than 3,000 yards, he probably ran for quite a bit, is my guess.
Yeah, I mean they have Johnny Dixon, who's a wide receiver. He's out of Ohio State, so
Mhm.
a big university there. And then they have Tywan Taylor, who played in the NFL as well for the Tennessee Titans, the Browns, and the Texans. And he's out of Western Kentucky. So they actually have like good skill position players.
Mhm. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense why they'd be on the favorited side, right? Like, does sound like they have one of the more talented offenses in the league. Um, a coach that probably has a very strong like offensive skill set as well, um, which would be beneficial. I mean, again, like you can create like if you have like a half-assed like a playbook, I feel like you're going to be really successful in this league. You know what I mean? Especially because they,
Maybe.
I mean, how long have they really gotten to practice all together? It's like a month and a half that they have to learn the playbook, learn the plays. You know, brand new for everybody. Like, so like you can have an average offense and just kind of dominate. I think.
Yeah. I think the craziest thing about the USFL still, dude, is that there's no home field advantage, dude.
I know
You're
it's
literally
interesting,
playing on
dude,
a
because
neutral
like
field.
yeah, I don't get it. Like I mean, I get it in the sense that they didn't want to fold, right? So they want to try to cut costs as much as possible.
Yeah.
But like, you're not even paying the players anything. So how much cost do you really have? I mean, you're on national TV, right?
So do you think the USFL finishes the season?
Um, I think it finishes the season. Do I think it gets a second season? I don't know because you have the XFL coming around, and the XFL is going to have a lot of money behind it, and they're already working with the NFL, right? So, like, I think the USFL kind of gets put on like the back burner, especially if like the XFL is playing at the same time.
I think it's kind of like a make or break for the USFL. Like either it flourishes or it's a fucking dumpster fire.
Right.
And honestly would not shock me if they didn't finish the season.
Yeah, I could see that. I guess I'm more hopeful than anything because like every like amateur semi-pro football league has folded before the season was over. You
I
know what
think
I
the thing
mean?
that hurts them the most, Eddie, too, is that the Major League Baseball's back.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, how much is Major League? I mean, I'm sure Major League Baseball is going to get more play than
Oh, way more
USFL,
play.
but like,
Or top tier league, bro. If the
yeah,
football's good, people will tune in. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's got to be good. Like, that's the thing.
The USFL should honestly have signed Johnny Manziel.
They should have signed some more bigger names, dude. You know what I
Signed
mean?
Johnny
Like,
Manziel for like $1 million and just been like, "Yo, we'll pay you, dog. We just need
yeah,
you."
there's other names could have been in there too that like just get out of the league for whatever reason. Like you bring in like a what's his name, Antonio Bryant. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying, from the Steelers and Raiders. Then you could have brought in like what was that dude's name? Josh Gordon. Bring in like a Josh Gordon.
yep.
You know, that would have been cool. Like bring in some players that maybe were left too soon or
pay some
whatever.
NFL dudes, bro. Some names that people
Right,
know. You know what I mean?
right,
That's what you need.
right. Or just say like on every third down, there's no rules. You just fucking clothesline,
Bring out
play
a
NFL
gun.
blitz out there. You know what I mean?
No, that's too much, man. That's too much.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't want it to be like an arcade game out there, like, oh, if you throw a touchdown from here, it's 10 points or something. That's dumb. But
I think that would
I mean,
honestly be interesting, dude. Like,
yeah,
yo, you throw a
maybe.
50-yard touchdown, that's worth 10 points, dude. It
Right.
makes the game way more interesting.
A league I always enjoy. Remember arena football?
Oh yeah, dude. It's
Dude,
coming
arena
back
football.
strong too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the indoor football league,
Indoor
right? Or
football
something
league.
like that.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. Arena football was cool, man. I used to enjoy those games. There's just different rules, which is what was cool about it.
San Jose SaberCats, dude.
Yeah, they're set. Sabercats were like a big thing in San Jose for a while there too.
Yep. All right, so next week we're gonna be talking. We're talking Tampa and who else are we talking? New Jersey, dude.
New Jersey, yeah.
New Jersey, yeah. So Tampa, New Jersey next week.
That'll finally cover our great analysis of every team.
Our great analysis of every team. That really, I mean, like, dude, you like a lot of these dudes haven't played since college, so it's really tough. But Yeah, man, it's good at least getting to know these teams, right? Because then when we see them play, we can actually handicap it a little better. So
Definitely.
very much looking forward to that, especially with March Madness wrapping up. But definitely stay locked with us. We're definitely going to be talking about USFL games every week. We're going to be handicapping them, breaking them down, getting some best bets. And then obviously we're still going to be talking NFL. We got the NFL draft coming up, so we'll be talking some NFL draft, more NFL free agency. Like we said, there was a lot of big names still left on the market. So we got more to talk about with that. So definitely stay locked with us. APR every week. Annexation of Puerto Rico. Thank y'all for joining us. For Raider Eddie, I'm Jordan. Stacks on Stacks on Stacks, lads. Make sure to go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device. Use promo code Taproom for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. We'll catch y'all next week. Stay locked, stay loaded. Catch me on Taproom Sports Sunday night with Big Ball and Ben Larson. Eddie will actually be on there too. We're doing some trivia.
Yep, can't wait.
Trivia, so definitely stay tuned for that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. We will see y'all next week. Peace.